Thank you, Tatiana, for being here today with us. And we would like to know a bit more why the Spanish students should choose Simcoe country to study in Canada.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. My name is Tatiana. I have been living in Simcoe County for about 15 years since the day I immigrated to Canada. So it has become a home and a place for work. And there is no wonder for that because Simcoe County is really nice and beautiful in terms of the environment. And it has always been promoted as a place for balanced work-life balance, right? So there are a lot of activities that you can do to have recreational activities during your time off, and great opportunities for work as well. In terms of the education system, let me just briefly describe to you a few things. In Canada, each province has its own authority body for education. So I will speak to Ontario, where we are. So in Ontario, all schools have to follow the Ministry of Education guidelines, which means that the curriculum expectations have to be followed, and pretty much all courses are offered, all courses are the same that are offered across the board in Ontario. Whether it is private, Catholic, or public school, doesn't matter. They have to follow curriculum expectations. So one thing you can expect is that wherever you go, and if you come to Simcoe, you definitely definitely follow ministry expectations. Also, another thing to note is that high school, or sometimes it is referred to as a secondary school, are grades 9 to 12. And in Ontario, students are placed based on the year of birth. So as a result, students are with their peers, and it is very important for students for their social development and connections with peers. Also, all the courses, as I said, are the same, and the core courses would include science, math, English, French as a language, because it's a mandatory course for all students in Ontario, so it is offered in every school. And the elective courses are offered based on the students' interests and staff availability for certain courses. And those would include some tech courses, like hairstyling, cosmetology, communication technology, all of those courses.
Food study that is very common among our Spanish students.
Yes, they love it. They absolutely love. Hairstyling is a beautiful course, because mainly girls take that course, but they absolutely love the the ability to try something new and do something for fun.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that even though school subjects are divided into certain levels to prepare students, whether it is for university or college level or workplace, but students have ability to take, let's say, core subjects, science and math, that are university level course, a high level, but they can also take a course that is more for fun. So it really gives them a balance. You don't have to choose a stream that would be the same for all courses. So we've had students take woodworking, highly academic level courses, and then they take woodworking just for a little bit of fun. It's always nice, right?
Yeah, for our international student, what we normally say is that you have to choose half of mandatory courses and the other half of elective courses, and doing things that is not very common to doing here in Spain, like hairstyling or woodworking or metalworking, these kind of things that it's very identity sign of the high schools in Canada.
Yes, and they love it. And movie video production, communication technology, where in schools they actually they do the broadcasting. Every morning they broadcast. They can take a course for that, of course, and then it's complete staffing made of students. Someone is an anchor, someone is video shooting, someone is taking care of audio. It is really, really a great opportunity for students to try something different, right? Not just strict math, science. physics.
And how does normally work in Canada, the course? In Barrie and in Simcoe country, do you have semester courses or you have the lineal system?
So in Ontario, we follow, and in Simcoe County, we follow a semestered system. So which means we do have 2 semesters, and each semester students take 4 courses. Okay. And so as a result, when they come for the full year, they will take 8 courses. And they can pick and choose what they take. I know that for Spanish students, it's important to take some core courses because they have to co-validate. And we are aware of that, and we try to make sure that, they take what they must take. Now, for students that are coming for 1 semester, it limits them a little bit in terms of taking some elective fun courses, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity as well. When they come for the full year, then they can take a full advantage, not only of the courses, but also sports and clubs that are offered throughout the year. But yes, to answer your question, we do have a semestered system. The first semester starts in September and goes until the end of January. And the second semester starts in February and goes till the end of June, with the graduation typically being done 28, 29, 30th of June. This is important for those that are perhaps pursuing the idea of graduating with a high school diploma from Ontario, and then they would like to attend graduation ceremony. So this year, it's interesting that this year we have had more students inquiring about graduating with a high school diploma, or even if they are not graduating, to at least attend graduation ceremony, because it's something unique. I hear from them that it's something unique to North
Yeah, it is.
North America and Canada.
And what happens if a student, doesn't have a very good level of English? Do you offer them any kind of support?
So in our school systems, we do offer English as a second language program. So there are some schools that are that typically have more international students or immigrant students. They definitely have English as a second language course each semester that students can take. But on top of those courses, we also have a position that is called ESL instructor. It's more like an ambassador for international students or support person for international students. They meet with them during lunch. They help them to navigate the system. They help them with learning English if necessary. But the learning of English truly happens because of the full immersion. Let's keep in mind that language is a survival skill. And if you need to survive in the English-speaking environment, your brain starts working really fast. And, all the previous knowledge all of a sudden comes from somewhere from the back of your mind, and you start using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the most important for the students is to really overcome that conversational barrier, that idea of, oh my gosh, I will make a mistake, I am embarrassed to. No. You don't have to be embarrassed, because the main point is that people around you understand what you're saying. And then in school, and as well as host families, if the student doesn't mind, they will help and they will correct. But in school there is a lot of learning. So yes, ESL classes are available. Additional ESL support is there. And also, I would mention that every student has a guidance counselor. So guidance counselors in our schools is a position that is to support all students, local and international, to navigate somewhat complicated education system, because the way how education system in Ontario in high school designed is to prepare students for university or colleges. So technically it's the same setting. You get a choice, you get to choose the courses that you want to take, and then if you need to figure out what courses you need to go to college or university, the guidance counselor is there to help and support. And so international students also get all full support from those from the guidance counselors to help them navigate and figure out what courses to take.
Yeah, in this way you offer, a whole support at the high school to the students, and this is really appreciated for them. And Tatiana, what happened when the classes finish normally? What they happen later? They have clubs, they have sports.
Yes, so all of our schools offer all kinds of different clubs, sport clubs, art clubs, and everything. So there could be a chess club, there is a robotic club, there could be a board game club, it could be choir, it could be anything. So we have a whole list, and on our website for each school you can see some clubs, but I will also share that information, the slide, with all the clubs that are available. Also, what's important to know is that sports, our schools are big on sports. Sports are divided into 3 seasons: fall, winter, and spring. And they are divided into the seasons across all Ontario schools because those are competitive teams and they compete. So it's important that all schools offer the same sport at the same time. So for example, boys soccer, one of the sports that would be interesting for Spanish students. Now, of course, Canadian students cannot compete with Spanish students. It's soccer is not necessarily the strongest sport in Canada. However, the team is there, and we hear that in the fall, those students, the boys that come in the fall, they love to join the soccer team. And often we have a team that is mainly made of international students, like Brazilian and Spanish students. Those are our biggest soccer sport fans, right? So that's wonderful. Then let's say basketball for boys is offered in the springtime. Skiing, downhill, and cross country is offered in the winter season. So those are the things to keep in mind, as well as skating, swimming. The only thing that I would mention about sports, because they are divided into 3 seasons, the winter season is between semesters. It starts typically in December, which is still semester 1, and ends sometime in February, March, which is
Second
second
semester.
semester. Yeah. So for the students that are coming for just 1 semester, they may find that they don't get an opportunity to try those competitive sports in schools. However, just keep in mind that besides doing competitive things at schools, as a community, we do have different private clubs where students can still practice basketball, skiing,
Tennis,
swimming.
this is one of the most demanded here in Spain, tennis clubs.
Yes, we do have a tennis club as well, and tennis is also played in schools as well, senior, and they divided by grades. But yes, tennis is we do have a good partnership with tennis club, good connection. So if there are any tennis players, they can, we can put them in touch with tennis club. Another great sport, or I would say world-renowned club, is figure skating. We have Mariposa Figure Skating World-Renowned Club that is located very close to our Innisdale Secondary School in Barrie. And we typically host between 2 to 5 professional figure skaters at that school, and they also attend Mariposa Skating Club. So that is a wonderful opportunity. Also, all of our cities, towns have community recreational centers where students, for very minimal cost, can go swimming, can get together with friends and do basketball or volleyball at the gym. They can go to lift some weights. And in the winter, they can try public skating or hockey. So those are the things that are available to the students after school, with the school activities, as well as after school with the community activities that are available within the communities. And of course, we have beautiful hiking, biking trails. We have several skiing resorts. nearby. There are at least 3 near Barrie. There is one in Collingwood, which is Collingwood Collegiate. Blue Mountains, they have a very competitive team. And we also have cross country as well in Aurelia, as well as Collingwood. So those are the options for those different sports.
A lot of options, and you are not very big city. You are more not rural, but mid-sized city.
Yes.
And you can offer the international students everything they need in their community. So this is amazing.
Yes, and what I wanted to mention as I like to highlight it for parents especially, because, you know, as a parent myself, it's sometimes it might be nerve-wracking to send a kid across the ocean, right? We worry about them, it's natural. But what's good to know is that Barrie, located only an hour away north from Toronto, so students would be flying to Toronto Pearson. But the most important is that Barrie has been named Canada's safest city for the past several years, according to the Crime Severity Index by Statistics Canada. So parents would have a peace of mind knowing that their child is coming to the safest city in Canada, and at the same time has lots of things to offer. For students, what they would like to know, because big city is nice to visit, right? So we do have a GO train that comes from Barrie and goes straight to downtown Toronto, where there's aquarium, CN Tower, and other just for walking. And very often with permissions, because certain permissions have to be signed, where both parents agree and homestay agrees, an agent is aware. Students can get on the train and go to Toronto, spend the day, and come back. So that option is there. You get to experience a big city and live in a comfort of a smaller city. It's still a city. We have 250,000 people in Barrie, so it's not a small.
It's not a
It's
small
not a
place.
tiny. Definitely not Madrid, and definitely not Toronto, but the beauty, there
The
is beauty.
lake, and it's very
The
beautiful, this
lake,
area. I've been
yeah.
there several times, as I told you previously, and I really like this area of Canada. It's very
Yes.
comfortable, And what about the trips you offer to international students? Because it's not only about classes, about extracurricular activities, you also offer them the opportunity to Niagara Falls, for example, go to Toronto downtown in a trip. What kind of trip do you normally offer them?
So we offer the following activities for our students. There are 3 field trips that we do with them. And you will see some of those in the videos that I will share with you. We do take students in the fall. We take them treetop trekking in the area near Barrie. It's beautiful fall colors. This year, when we took them in October, students were taking pictures and were just amazed by the beautiful fall colors of maple leaves and all of that. And they absolutely enjoy treetop trekking. Another trip we do is snow tubing at the Snow Valley, which is near again, near Toronto, so near Barrie, not too far to travel. And again, fun winter activity. And then in May, coming up shortly, we'll be taking them to the amusement park Wonderland, which is in Toronto. And again, they also love it. It's a thrill park, all the rides and everything. And it's just an opportunity for them to get together with all the students, the whole international student group, and connect and maintain those friendships. Besides that, during our orientation, the orientation in the fall, we do strongly insist that students attend orientation, because that's a very important part of the program. That's the time when they go to the school, they get the school tour, they meet with the guidance, they discuss their courses, make changes if necessary, they connect with other local students as well as other international students, which makes the transition on the first day much easier. But besides, we also take them on another field trip, which is more on team building and different activities that they do at the Horseshoe Valley. So again, in the video that I will share with you, you will be able to see some of it, because it's better to see it with your own eyes, right? And then just recently, we took students to Tiffin Center, where they were learning about maple syrup, which is very Canadian, very traditional.
Yes.
So they were learning on how the maple syrup was made in the past, how it's collected, and the whole process from the past to these days. So it's they truly enjoy. In terms of trips to Toronto, as I said, we even though we do not organize trips as a group, but very often students get together as a group and they go on a GO train to Toronto, or host families would take them to Toronto. Sometimes host families, even though it's not really expected, but quite often they do get to go to Niagara Falls, or other trips that are really dependent more on host families. So those are the things that we do offer. And so far, students have truly enjoyed every single trip. Yeah.
So we were speaking about high school, and the other very important part of the program is host families.
Yes,
so
host families.
Canada is a multicultural country, and is multiculturally we saw in the host families, at the school with teachers, with their peers, with everywhere. So apart from that point that all parents are aware about it, how do you select, or how do you do the process when a host family asks, I want to be a host family for international students? What kind of papers, what are the vetting you do to these host families to ensure it's a safe environment for the international students?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because host families is a key part of the successful stay of the student in Canada. So for homestay, we work with Canada Homestay Network, which is a national organization that has their high standards of expectations for the facility as well as the families. So once the family expresses interest in hosting an international student, they go through rigorous reviews. They have to submit criminal record check with a vulnerable sector screening, which indicates that they did not have any, criminal records or any issues with vulnerable sector, because we are dealing with minor students, right? Then we also, CHN inspects the house to make sure that it is clean, that the student will have their own bedroom. So students in homestays have a separate bedroom. They may share a washroom with a host child, whether it is an international student that comes from another country, or the host family's child, they might be sharing bathroom. But the bedroom will be separate, should be clean, and it should have a certain size of the window, because in Canada, we live in houses, in Barrie specifically, live in houses where sometimes there is basement, or as we refer to as a walk-out basement. So there is a door and you can walk out. And very often, I have to say, teenagers love to hide in the basement because no one is bothering them, right? But there are certain expectations for the size of the windows, for the cleanliness of the room, and all of that. So CHN staff member would go and personally inspect the house and make sure that it meets all the requirements. So criminal record check is done. inspection of the house is done, then expectations are definitely explained to the family of what is to be provided. 3 meals are to be provided. At least one of them is to be a hot meal. Typically, it's the evening, right? Because for the dinner, when students get to and family gets back from school and from work. They, provide snacks. They provide food to take to school. Now, students have to pack their own lunch, and that's a typical expectation for local students as well. So students are treated as part of the family with certain expectations, which would be to keep their room clean. And if they are the only ones using washroom, they would have to clean the facility as well, but they are not doing the work for the host family. So it's just kind of keeping your own space nice and clean, and getting your lunch ready for school, because packing for a teenager who I eat this, I don't like that, is is a different story, right?
Yeah.
So, but food is provided.
And what about allergies? Can you provide safe spaces for those students that, needs because of medical prescription, lactose-free diet or gluten-free, or their strong allergies to nuts, for example?
So typically when students fill out an application, all the applications are done online through True North. And
awesome.
Yes, we love it.
We love it.
We are still learning a little, little tricks there, here and there. So sometimes if you run into some sort of a strange issue there, just give us,
just a message.
Yeah, let us know, because we may not know that has happened. But yeah, no, we love True North. But in any case, so once the student selects that homestay is required, there is a bunch of questions that pop up. So you just need to carefully go through those questions. And there are lots of questions about medical condition, about food allergies, intolerance, this and that. So all of that, the student has to really read, or parents need to read and answer those questions properly. And then, of course, it is taken into consideration. Now, for some diets, I have to say CHN does charge a little bit more. There is an additional cost, simply because, for example, if it is a vegetarian, they still need to have protein, and you have to purchase different foods. Or if they don't eat certain meats, they still have to, accommodate. So there might be additional cost, but all of that is can be accommodated. The only thing we do ask, we have noticed that this year the number of special diet requests have increased. So this is where we always say, okay, pick 3 schools that you are willing to go or would like to go, but please stay open-minded, because if homestay is not able to find a host family that is able to accommodate your diet or health condition, then we might need to move you to a different school, because in this case, the health condition or homestay requirement supersedes the school. That's the only thing that I would remind.
I think be open-minded is a good advice for the students.
Yes.
Since they think to start in Canada, be open-minded and, adapt to a new culture, adapt to a new high school, adapt to new classes, to a new system for studying.
Yes.
And what other advice would you say to the international students, Tatiana?
So really, I guess the best advice, that something that I've heard from other international students, is truly stay open-minded. Do not be embarrassed to go and talk to people and make friends. Don't be embarrassed to make mistakes with English if you don't feel very strong with English. People in Canada are very friendly, and students are friendly as well. One other advice that was mentioned by a student is get connected with clubs and school activities, because that's where you will find friends with common interests. So that's very important. And please don't be afraid to communicate with your host family, because some host families may not have traveled and are not familiar with your particular culture. So they may say or do something that is, maybe not appropriate, but they don't mean to offend, right? So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please always be open-minded and communicate. Keep in mind that for the homestay, there is also a coordinator for homestay. Reach out. Don't be afraid. Don't wait until it's too late, of any concerns. Communicate. Communicate with the guidance. Communicate with the homestay family. Communicate with the homestay coordinator. Let me know, let the agent know, and we always try to help and support. But definitely stay open-minded, because things you will see and things you will do are very different. But that is exactly the reason why you come to experience another culture. You will see people from all over the world in Canada, in your high schools, in the communities. It's because it is a multicultural country. So enjoy the
Enjoy.
learning. Yes, enjoy
Yeah.
the learning. It's a journey. You come here to learn in order to be able to succeed anywhere, just as our tagline says, learn here, succeed anywhere. And learning doesn't only include academic learning. Learning also includes cultural, at home, in a community. Explore. Don't just sit at your computer and hide behind your computer. Go and put yourself in a little bit uncomfortable situation and introduce yourself to someone new. Get connected, meet, let us know, we'll support.
We have the orientation. We organize an orientation for all the students that will go to Canada next September, and this is taking place next Sunday. So
Mm-hmm.
what we always say to them, sorry, when we speak about host family, is you have to ask them daily at least 5 questions. How was your day? How can I help you? What are you going to do during the weekends? 5 questions to force them to speak with the host families every day. So at the
Yes.
beginning, they are, more quiet, more slow, but when they go and move forward and start continue and speaking, everything is easier. So this is why we force them to ask them at least 5 questions every single day to the host family.
Right. Yes, that's a very good advice. It is a very good advice because it's getting out of the comfort zone. It is definitely
Absolutely.
getting out of the comfort zone, and that's important because that's how we learn, right? They say, we get to the mountaintops to enjoy the view, but the learning actually happens in the valley where we are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, and yes, at first, there is no doubt there will be some, adjustment, and students will be uncomfortable because it's a new school, it's a new environment, it's
A
mom and
new
dad are not
language,
here.
24 hours. So
Yes, new language, and they will be tired, but the learning that they will gain from this experience is absolutely unbelievable, and it's a huge growth, and it's a great experience for those who are able to do it. So that is absolutely wonderful.
I don't know if you want to tell us something else about Simcoe or about Berry. I have no
Um,
more questions. So
okay. So what would I like to, so I think I mentioned to you about orientation. Um, I have to say that I really would strongly encourage everyone to make it to orientation, because here is what happens. When students come, those who did not attend orientation, on the first day when the classes start, the guidance counselors are very busy because it's a whole crowd that everyone comes, and those students feel a little bit lost, even though we are trying to be there, we're trying to support, but it's still overwhelming because it's a huge crowd. But when they attend orientation, they get a tour of the school. They know exactly where their first class is. They know they have already connected with some friends. They don't feel so lonely because lunch is between period 2 and 3 is about 40 minutes to an hour, and you got to do something, right? So you got to connect with someone. So that is very important. We do try to meet with international students during the lunchtime every day of the first week and try to connect them with the guidance and all of that. But it's really, really important for them
When
to.
does the orientation will be taking place this September?
So this year, our orientation dates for September are August 30th. It's 3 days, August 30th, 31st, and then September 1st. So August 30th is when they are when we are visiting schools, and that's the time when they meet with guidance and get the tour of the school. Now, this is the time, just so you know, those extra days, students don't have to pay extra for homestay. It's covered with the fees.
Yeah, but you know, we normally, and this is for Spanish parents, very important, we chaperone the flight. So we are going to chaperone the flight for the next year, September the 1st. So I'm so sorry, but our students are going to miss the orientation because of this reason. I don't know, it's something that we normally ask you, all the school district, if you can, you know, have the same days of the orientations, all the school districts for international students. In my opinion, I've been working with Canada for 9 years now, sending international students and Spanish students there. And British Columbia works definitely much better in this sense than Ontario provinces.
Okay.
Why? Because they always have the same orientations and the same arrivals day for almost all the school districts.
Okay.
So it's quite easy for us to book a flight chaperone that, you know, that fixed all most of the orientation, not all of them, but almost all of them for the orientations. You know, in Ontario, you have the orientation in August. Others cannot arrive in August because they are very far away from Toronto and they have to book a bus for the students' arrivals, and they have to be 1st and 2nd September. So, you know, for us as an agency, it's quite tricky to chaperone more than one flight for East Coast and West Coast.
Right. Okay, so no, that's good to know. That's I'll definitely bring it up with our other, you know, Ontario boards, because the reason why we do it the way we do is so it's always with us. It's always Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, before the long weekend.
Before the long weekend. And then on Tuesday, they start.
Yeah.
And we cannot do anything with the school on neither of those days. We cannot do it on Friday at the moment because they are, which would be September 1st, because schools, the guidance counselors are not available.
Oh.
So this is something, that's a very good suggestion. However, I will definitely look into it and see what can be done. But yeah, so your group will be missing orientation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop the recording now, okay?
Yeah.